Brother wants out, by the way. I'm just telling you what I know. I got my own sources. Brother wants out. He don't want to be in Buffalo.
Stephen A., who are your sources, bro?
Now, maybe you can get up and get down. Maybe somebody exaggerate. All right, you know. All right, you can stand up and sit down. Bro, you ain't healthy.
This is a very bad look for Stephen A. Smith. I mean, it's bad. I don't think it's ever been this bad because he's had back-to-back days where he quite literally got exposed by players in two completely different sports. I mean, you're about to see a microphone collab with TheFlightMike here. But before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. NBA 2K24 is around the corner. We're going to be posting codes to NBA 2K24 on my Instagram story at TheFlightMike and on my Snapchat story at FlightMikeSnap. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is finally back.
That's impossible!
But I'm gonna admit, the preseason is boring as shit. I mean, when the second stringers and third stringers come out, your boy does tend to fall asleep a little bit. But I found a way to make the preseason all the more interesting. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are back! Posting prize picks on the days that there are significant preseason games. Starting from the Hall of Fame game, all the way to the Super Bowl, your boy is going to be making picks on his Instagram story. Picks are free. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram to get them. And if you haven't signed up for prize picks, right now, when you use my promo code microphone, you'll double your deposit up to $100. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I want to open up this video by letting you know that I'm a huge fan of Stephen A. Smith. I mean, he is definitely one of my early influences to get into the lane that I'm in now. I think in some respects we do something very similar, although he has a significantly larger reach than I do. And what he does on national TV is what I do on YouTube channels. And I would not have been inspired to do what I do if Stephen A. Smith was never in the picture. And in terms of what he does for a living, I think he does an incredible job. I mean, he's very entertaining whenever he delivers sports news on First Take, and recently he's even branched into podcasting, which made him a more relatable and likable person, in my opinion. I think the perfect example of a good content creator is someone whose content you would watch even though he is discussing controversial topics that you may sometimes agree with and sometimes don't. And Stephen A. Smith really opened up about how he felt about the ESPN layoffs and how Disney was reacting to the fact that they caused this own damage to their own brand when he said this.
You've got folks on other side of the ideology that galvanize and speak out against such positions, and how do they exact revenge? By affecting your bottom line.
And it got really controversial. People wouldn't even expect him to talk about an issue like this.
How folks are being laid off, but Pat McAfee arrived at ESPN. Pat McAfee wasn't hired by ESPN. Pat McAfee was acquired by ESPN. He's not an employee. He's a product. I would know because I'm an employee who's trying to become a product.
But all in all, I had a lot of respect for him because you don't typically hear the face of ESPN come out and tell you what's going on behind the scenes, and in addition to that, voice his displeasure with it. And I think that's all very admirable, man. So Stephen A. Smith is a remarkable on-air personality, but if there's one thing that Stephen A. Smith has consistently been terrible at, and everybody who consumes his content either knows this or should know this, is that he is not a credible source at all whatsoever. What do I mean by that? Well, there is a meme that we use in sports whenever we're hearing information or read information that we don't really trust. Usually you'll reply on Twitter or X saying, "Source, trust me, bro." And Stephen A. Smith is the epitome of that. So yesterday, Stefon Diggs, for those of you guys that don't know, is a huge star wide receiver in the NFL. He's a top 5 highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. But recently there was some speculation that he may want to leave the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's this infamous clip of him and his quarterback getting into it on the sidelines during their final game in the AFC divisional round last year. And later on in the offseason, there were reports saying that he wasn't happy. And a few months later, training camp starts. And I will admit, whenever we get to August-ish, I guess you could say the news cycle slows down, both for the NBA and for the NFL. And for people like me, we get to just take time off. I don't necessarily have to bring you guys content if there's nothing to talk about. And that's usually what what we elect to do on this YouTube channel. Maybe we'll discuss something else, like ESPN's layoffs, or who Skip Bayless's new partner could be, something of that sort. But in the case of Stephen A. Smith, he doesn't have that luxury. He needs to figure out something to talk about each and every day to fill up the 2-hour slot that ESPN First Take runs on. And that could be problematic when things slow down. So on August 21st, Stephen A. Smith would say this about Stefon Diggs.
Brother wants out, by the way. I'm just telling you what I know. I got my own sources. Brother wants out. He don't want to be in Buffalo. I have my sources. Stefon Diggs got to be there, but he would prefer to be gone because he's lost a level of belief in the Buffalo Bill. That's right, I said it.
And the funny thing about this is, it's the epitome of the meme that I was referencing earlier. When people were asking Stephen A.
Yo, we didn't hear this information anywhere. Where are you getting this information from?
He just said,
I have my sources.
I mean, typically you would say it's coming from Stefon Diggs' camp. I mean, obviously you can't get into specifics, but the fact that he immediately said, I have my sources, just gives you an idea that this probably isn't the most credible information, because you would probably hear something from Adam Schefter, who is the NFL equivalent of Adrian Wojnarowski, or Ian Rappaport, who is the NFL equivalent of Shams Charania. And the thing that made this look so bad is Stefon Diggs would tweet out a few hours later saying 100% not true. I don't know who the source is, but I thought I nipped this in the bud already. And he even would reaffirm his commitment to Buffalo by saying this.
Still want to retire Buffalo Bill?
100%, sir.
Which brings us to the NBA portion of this video. As you guys know, one of the saddest stories in the entire NBA has to be what's going on with Lonzo Ball currently. I mean, this is a man that was overhyped coming into the NBA, had a very pedestrian rookie season, teamed up with LeBron James in his sophomore season with a broken jumper, by the way, gets traded to the Pelicans in his third season, completely remakes his meme-worthy jump shot, by the way, becomes a fantastic shooter, which is so freaking difficult to do. I don't think we give this man enough credit, given the hell that Markelle Fultz had to go through to make himself a productive player, given how Ben Simmons has struggled to develop a three-point jump shot his entire career. I think we discount how difficult it is to achieve what Lonzo Ball was able to achieve in year 3 with the Pelicans. And although he didn't necessarily live up to the insane hype that he generated in the pre-draft process, you have to admit he was getting better and better as a player moving forward, and he finally was able to cash in with the perfect team following the 2020 to 2021 season when he agreed to a sign and trade to the Chicago Bulls. And Lonzo Ball would say this himself. It was the perfect team for him, and originally in the beginning of the season when they were fully healthy, we saw. Listen to Lonzo talk about it.
Feel bad just for the GMs is because I feel like they made the perfect team around me, and I felt like I was involved in, that was the most I've ever been involved in an organization, and I finally got the perfect team, you know, that I felt like to fit my game and play my way and really just do, you know, what I wanted to do. So that injury, you know, that I'm still going through it right now, but that one messed me up early just because I feel like we really had a chance and never got to see what it was.
During his debut year with the Chicago Bulls, after 35 games, Lonzo Ball would go out with a knee injury, and he would get multiple surgeries on this knee. Originally, we thought that we would see him again during 2022. We didn't. Well, we figured that after an extended period of time, at some point throughout the 2022 to 2023 season, he'd have to play again. Well, that isn't necessarily the case. He missed all of last year. And the thing that sucks the most is Lonzo Ball told us officially that it seems like that's what's going to happen during the 2023 to 2024 season.
Just taking it day by day, bro. I just had a really big surgery, hopefully the last one I ever have to get. But, you know, it's a long process. Going to be out I'm already out this whole next season. So, you know, when I first got hurt, we didn't really know what it was. I've seen all type of different doctors and stuff, and I was kind of just going up and down. And that was really hard for me because I just didn't know what the next day was going to be like. And at least now, you know, I got the surgery. We got a plan moving forward. We've been on plan. I'm on track. So hopefully everything works out. But, you know, I just leave it up to God, man, and just do the best I can and live with the results, bro.
Which, man, this sucks. Because there's a lot of individuals that you could watch in the NBA and tell that they don't truly love the game of basketball. They just do it to get a bag, or they just like what comes with it. Ben Simmons, I'm looking at you. But I could tell that Lonzo Ball absolutely loves his job. I mean, LeVar Ball quite literally developed his children to become basketball superstars, except for LiAngelo. I mean, this was their birthright. And although Lonzo Ball wasn't necessarily making our jaw drop with tremendous athleticism or lightning quick handles or something of that sort. I actually believe that he could eventually get to all-star status just based off of his work ethic and drive alone. And maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I really like Lonzo Ball because he went to my alma mater. But I could just tell this man had a tremendous work ethic and he was going to get there. And it really sucks to see that taken away from him. It seems like Lonzo is being positive about the situation.
It is a game at the end of the day. Like, it's just basketball. So no matter how hard, Steph is getting, it's not like we on the front lines in the Army or some shit, going out there and ready to die every day. Like,
absolutely. So
for me, it's always could be worse. So I always look at it like that at the end of the day. Like, I'm still playing a game that I love for a living, so you can't get me no better than that.
Absolutely.
That's the way to look at it.
But at this point, you might be wondering, where does Stephen A. Smith factor in all of this? Well, one day after the Stefon Diggs incident, Stephen A. Smith would have to commentate on the Lonzo Ball situation, which, by the way, great topic to talk about. Very unfortunate situation. Not necessarily difficult to commentate on either. All you have to do is go on national TV and say, this sucks. He had a lot of potential. Hopefully he gets well soon. His knee injury is a tremendous mystery, and we've never seen anything like it before. That's all you really have to say in this instance. But this is what Stephen A. Smith decided to say instead.
And it's really sad what happened to him. Those are doctors. Something went wrong. I don't think he'll ever be the same based off of what we're seeing and hearing and reading about. I've heard it's even hard for him to get up from the sitting position.
Now, Stephen A. Smith said something right here. I'm really, really sad for him. Perfect thing to say. I don't think he'll ever be the same. I don't think he'll ever be the same again is not that bold of an analysis either. I hope he's wrong, but whenever a player is typically out for the duration of time that Lonzo Ball has been out for, it's not that bold to assume that Lonzo might not be the same player again. I personally like to think that he has a chance because, well, he really never depended on athleticism to begin with. He relied on his basketball IQ, and he's more lauded for his decision-making, defense, intangibles than anything else. So I think there's a chance he could be the same again, but it's not that bold of a take here. But the thing that makes this so meme-worthy, and the whole reason we made this video, is when Stephen A. Smith said this part.
It's even hard for him to get up from the sitting position.
Which, it seems like Lonzo Ball really, really wanted to dunk on Stephen A. Smith for this, because he would clap back in the funniest way possible, tweeting out at Stephen A. Smith, come to the actual source next time, I'm not hard to reach, and then posting this video.
Stephen A., who are your sources, bro? Please tell me who your sources are. Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta stop yapping. And I actually like you, man. I don't even know you like that, but I like you. I'm coming back, man. Come on.
So a lot of people are asking, Mike, why is Lonzo Ball not planting his right leg at this point? Why is he only leaning on his left? Well, the injured leg is the left leg. He's doing this to prove to Stephen A. Smith that, hey, I can put all of the pressure on my injured leg and still sit normally. So Stephen A. Smith would actually respond the next day on First Take by saying this about Lonzo Ball.
You really gonna sit poolside on the bench and think because you getting up and sitting down and getting up and sitting down that makes you healthy? Come on, bro. Come on now.
And he would even take accountability for saying that he exaggerated.
Now, maybe you can get up and get down. Maybe somebody exaggerate. All right, all right, you can stand up and sit down. Bro, you ain't healthy.
Before continuing to roast Lonzo Ball for not being able to stay healthy, even going as far as to say that he's only played in 48% of his games.
Others, he really tore into Stephen A. Don't you have the stats? Don't you know how many games he's missed? Don't let me get all up on in y'all, okay? Bro, you ain't healthy. You've missed about 48% of your games, and you're only 4 years into your career.
And while the statistics aren't wrong here at all whatsoever, it's the fact that Stephen A. Smith will come out and make it seem like he has inside information that kind of makes it difficult to believe him. He also claimed that Michael Jordan texted him that Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time and Steph Curry is the best shooting guard of all time.
Magic Johnson is easily the best point guard of all time. Steph Curry is very close but not in front of Magic. You must define point guard to really have a serious debate. Steph Curry is by far the best shooter. Quote this morning at 5:45 was from Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Wow! How? And at a specific point, one has to wonder, what is Stephen A. Smith making up and what is he actually getting right? At the end of the day, man, I feel like Stephen A. Smith is in a very tough spot in the sense that he needs to fill up 2 hours of time each and every day. And I guess when you're on TV each and every single day and you're recording so many segments, you're likely to over-exaggerate sometimes, and this is one of those instances. But at the same time, some of the stuff was not needed. For Stefon Diggs, you could have said, hey, Stefon Diggs wanted out of Buffalo a couple months ago. Could that be the case right now? You don't have to come out and definitively say he wants out of Buffalo now. And in the case of Lonzo Ball, you could have said he's out for the entire season. We don't know if he's going to be the same again and how it would affect and impact the Chicago Bulls. I've made multiple videos on it on this channel before. Some of it isn't necessary at all whatsoever. But if there's one takeaway you should have of this is the fact that Stephen A. Smith is a legendary sports figure, one of the true legends of day-to-day sports analysis, one of the hardest workers in the business, and one of the most entertaining personalities on television. But if there's one thing that Stephen A. isn't, it's being a legitimate source for insider knowledge. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.